Hello and welcome to another Royal Reviewer live pop-up chat. Oh my goodness, the news is just in. Oh my goodness, right, we have a statement. We have a statement from Prince Harry, His Royal Highness the Duke of Sussex. And I am going to read this statement in full. I'm going to read it in full now. I know people will probably be joining this live chat, but most people usually watch on catch up. So I'm going to get straight into the full statement, and it is explosive. It really is explosive. So, without further ado, let's start. This is a statement, an official statement by His Royal Highness Prince Harry, the Duke of Sussex, published today, the 1st of October 2019. And it reads, let me just zoom in so I don't miss a word. He says, as a couple, we believe in media freedom and objective, truthful reporting. We regard it as a cornerstone of democracy, and in the current state of the world, on every level, we have never needed responsible media more. Unfortunately, my wife has become one of the latest victims of a British tabloid press that wages campaigns against individuals with no thought to the consequences. A ruthless campaign that has escalated over the past year throughout her pregnancy and while raising our newborn son. There is a human cost to this relentless propaganda, specifically when it is knowingly false and malicious. And though we have continued to put on a brave face, as so many of you can relate to, I cannot begin to describe how painful it has been, because in today's digital age, press fabrications are repurposed as truth across the globe. One day's coverage is no longer tomorrow's chip paper. Up to now, we have been unable to correct the continual misrepresentations, something that these select media outlets have been aware of, and have therefore exploited on a daily and sometimes hourly basis. It is for this reason we are taking legal action, a process that has been many months in the making. The positive coverage of the past week from these same publications exposes the double standards of this specific press pack that has vilified her almost daily for the past 9 months. They have been able to create lie after lie at her expense, simply because she has not been visible while on maternity leave. She is the same woman she was a year ago on our wedding day, just as she is the same woman you've seen on this African tour, or rather Africa tour. For these select media, this is a game, and one that we have been unwilling to play from the start. I have been a silent witness to her private suffering for too long. To stand back and do nothing would be contrary to everything we believe in. This particular legal action hinges on one incident in a long and disturbing pattern of behaviour by British tabloid media. The contents of a private letter were published unlawfully in an intentionally destructive manner to manipulate you, the reader, and further the divisive agenda of the media group in question. In addition to their unlawful publication of this private document, they purposely misled you by strategically omitting select paragraphs, specific sentences, and even singular words to mask the lies that they have perpetrated for over a year. There comes a point when the only thing to do is to stand up to this behaviour, because it destroys people and destroys lives. Put simply, it is bullying, which scares and silences people. We all know this isn't acceptable at any level. We won't and can't believe in a world where there is no accountability for this. Though this action may not be the safe one, it is the right one, because my deepest fear is history repeating itself. I've seen what happens when someone I love is commoditized to the point that they no longer are treated or seen as the real person, a real person. I lost my mother, and now I watch my wife falling victim to the same powerful forces. We thank you, the public, for your continued support. It is hugely appreciated. Although it may not seem like it, we really need it. Oh my goodness, I was choking up at the end reading that about his mother. I want to cry, I really do. And there is some extra media information too. So the media information is: Her Royal Highness the Duchess of Sussex has filed a claim against associated newspapers over the misuse of private information, infringement of copyright, and breach of the Data Protection Act 2018. The proceedings in the Chancery Division of the High Court relate to the unlawful publication of a private letter. A legal spokesperson from Shillings, who are representing the Duchess of Sussex, said, "We have initiated legal proceeding against the Mail on Sunday and its parent company Associated Newspapers over the intrusive and unlawful publication of a private letter written by the Duchess of Sussex, which is part of a campaign by this media group to publish false and deliberately derogatory stories about her, as well as her husband. Given the refusal of Associated Newspapers to resolve this issue satisfactorily, we have issued proceedings to redress this breach of privacy infringement of copyright and aforementioned media agenda. The case is being privately funded by the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, pending a court ruling. Proceeds from any damages will be donated to an anti-bullying charity." Okay. Wow. That is pretty explosive stuff. I want to go to the chat room. I mean, I want to see what all you guys are saying. My goodness. Where is my chat room? I need it now. Wow. What did you all think about that? Hopefully most of you got to hear all of it in full. If you've just joined, I did read the whole thing in full. So afterwards, do make sure you go back and read it. But wow, I just explosive. Yes, people are saying, go Harry, go Meghan. Jacqueline says, thank you, Jesus, about time, get them all. Shelley says, oh no, please don't tell me he's come with his moaning victim-type statements again. God, they're handling their asses to people that hate them. Oh my goodness. Strong view from you, Miss Shelley. Alicia says, the media must be pooping their pants. And Marilyn says, hooray for Harry. None of that turn the other cheek stuff. Well, it seems... Okay, let's just wind back a minute. It seems like we all thought that they were just not doing anything, but it seems like right from the outset, they did actually want to do something. Now, they alluded in their piece to saying that they wanted to do it for a long time, but for some reason they couldn't. And I think they've waited until kind of this moment. And they said this has been many months in the making. So they've obviously got, they've got a legal team, Shillings, behind them. They've taken advice and consultation, and they feel at this point that they have enough to take it to court and sue for damages. So, I can't say one way or the other how this is going to go. Will it be successful? Will it not be successful? I don't know. It's civil. It's not criminal, justice. It's civil proceedings. So I don't know how it's going to go. It depends, I suppose, entirely on any precedents that have gone beforehand. So we really are. It's going to be really interesting to see what happens there. Yes, Fabulous123 says yes. Prince Harry loves his wife. Period. He does indeed. Becky Ray says, I'm so glad they are doing this. Good for them. Prayers and support for the Sussexes. H.M. the King says, pip pip tally ho, indeed. Zlee says, yeah, Harry, wipe them out. They don't deserve any consideration whatsoever. Lots of people talking, obviously, about the media. Marilyn is crying tears of joy. Elaine says, brilliant. This will be the beginning of the end to those that try to control the narrative. End of the abysmal agencies. Well, I mean, again, hopefully it will work. I mean, I can't remember, I don't think, a time when they have sued not just for an individual breach of copyright, which is what they're suing for now, but also they're going in for a negative and false narrative. So I can't remember a time when a member of the royal family has done that against not just a fake story, but a whole fake narrative. It's almost like trying to get legal proceedings against bullying, and I don't think that's been done in this way before. So unless I'm wrong and I've missed something, this is fairly unique in its construction. So they're focusing on the letter. Everything in this case hinges on the letter, which obviously is the letter that I think Mr. Markle gave to or sold. We don't know. We don't know. We can't say either way whether he sold it or just gave it. He gave it to that publication, and obviously they published it. But it sounds like that wasn't the full letter. Harry says in the statement that that they omitted words, they omitted sentences, and all that kind of thing. So to further this negative narrative, which we all know they've been doing. So which way it's going to go, I couldn't tell you, but it most certainly will be interesting. Alicia says, "I'm never buying a newspaper about them again." Yeah, it does make you feel that way, doesn't it? Yes, Harry is standing up for his family. Cindy says, "I really wish everyone would boycott those that do this stuff. Elliot would be king of real news." Thank you. I mean, like I say, there are lots of other channels on YouTube, not just news publications, who tend to regurgitate stories. They're a bit like sheep, aren't they? Once one comes out with a story, they all tend to follow. But it's the same with YouTube channels. Lots of these YouTube channels, especially the Harry and Meghan channels, and what I call the hate channels, like Lizard Lady and some of the tarot people, they go with these stories. So yes, a lot of these Harry and Meghan channels, the hate channels, they do go with it. I mean, I would possibly, well, I've actually clicked on some of these channels, and I've said when they pop up in my feed, I don't want to see any of their things. So I've already done that. I've actually effectively blocked a lot of these channels from coming up on my feed, because there was a point about 4 or 5 months ago where I was just sick and fed up of it. I didn't want to see anymore. I knew it was all a load of lies, and I was just sick and fed up of it. So I got rid of all those channels, which you can do. So if these channels are popping up in your feed, just click that you don't want to click on them, and then click that you don't want to hear anything from them. And so far I haven't, which is really, really good. I'm going to skip all the way down to the bottom because because I want to be current with the comments. Cindy says, "Yeah, I should do that too." Yeah, I think you all should. OEM says yes, and Elliot, you are good to click. We shouldn't click and report. No, don't click and report me. Click and report the bad channels. My goodness. Fabulous123 says, talking to Cheryl, "I hope so. Mr. Markle has let his daughter down terribly. I don't blame him." Well, I remember at the time saying that it was, terrible that he'd done that with her private letter. Yes, HM the King, it was an obvious intrusion into their private lives with pictures. That's obviously the helicopter pictures when they looked in the window of their Cotswolds property. This is about the lies. Yes, this is about an agenda, and that has not been done before. Yes, we have seen the royals take legal action against specific incidents, but this very squarely, if I'll read parts of it again if you want me to, but this very clearly references a media agenda, which they aren't going to get a civil case. I don't think they're going to get a civil ruling against an agenda and a narrative, but by highlighting it, I think they're raising awareness of it, and they're also letting the media know, that they're onto them and they know what they're doing. The thing that they are actually going to get, a ruling or a judgment on, either way, because we don't know which way it's going. Just because they're taking legal action doesn't mean they're going to win. That is what we should all, say. There's no concrete guarantee they're going to win. However, the thing that they are going to get, that it all hinges on, is the publishing of a private letter under copyright and intrusion. So, which were the bits? Yes. So yes, they mentioned things like a ruthless campaign that has escalated over the past year, continued misrepresentations exploited on a daily and sometimes hourly basis. So they are definitely talking about, a media agenda, which as far as I'm concerned, I don't think that that has actually been kind of included in a case before. So it'll be very interesting to see how this pans out. It really will. April says they are going to win. I hope they do. I mean, normally I like to try and remain impartial, but I will say, fingers crossed. I hope they do. But we cannot say at this point one way or the other. Truthfully, we cannot say. Nobody can say which way this is going to go. So if you're watching other channels that say, they're suing and, they're going to win, we don't know that. So we have to keep our fingers crossed at the moment. But, like I say, it will be very interesting to see what happens, what the judgment is in the end, and what they're basing it on. So like I said before, usually in British law, it follows precedents, which I think it probably does in most countries that have, a similar legal system to us in the UK. And, if there is a precedent that kind of, where people have won against private letters being published, then there's a good chance that they might win. If there isn't a case, then obviously it's a chance for a new precedent to be set. And there is a chance that a whole, media narrative and agenda could also be included in the case by a judge. If that is the case, then that could actually set a new precedent, which in turn, a negative narrative, as they're interpreting it, could be classed as bullying. So there is a chance that they could actually set a new precedent, which could include, a media-wide bullying, and actually, claim for damages against that. I don't know which way it's going to go. So, yeah, we are all going to have to wait and see. And it doesn't say also when this is going to take place or anything of that nature. And obviously, we haven't had the response, if indeed we are going to get a response, from the media groups that are actually mentioned in that statement from the Duke. Elderly Pilder says, I would enjoy being one of the royal family's lawyers. Oh my goodness, it would be so interesting, wouldn't it? Bobby says, if they don't win, it will get 1,000 times worse. This is a brave move. That's why they said, where's the bit? They did say about that in the statement. Here we go. Though this action may not be the safe one, it is the right one. So yes, basically they are saying we are taking a gamble. It's not safe. We are taking a gamble. We are taking a risk. But we feel it is the right thing to do. So in that sentence there, it echoes what I've just said. They are not 100% certain that they are going to win this case. That's why they said, though this action may not be the safe one. But what they're hoping is that the right outcome will prevail. So again, we will have to wait and see on that score. Oh, trolls! Let's zap the trolls. There are trolls in the house. Mary Brunt says, I just read that top aides of the Queen's are saying you can talk about Brexit with the Queen, but don't mention Harry and Meghan. You can talk to the Queen about anything. However, you are unlikely to get the Queen's opinion on something. So yes, you can tell the Queen whatever you want, but if you're lucky enough to meet her. But like I say, she doesn't give her opinions. Shari says, if the media's negative narrative earns money, then Meghan should be entitled to some of it. Well, like I say, if they win the case, they will get damages, and they are going to donate that to an anti-bullying charity. So I suppose by getting damages, if she wins or Harry wins, Meghan wins. No, it's in Meghan's name, isn't it? Yes. So if Meghan wins, the statement was by Harry. The legal act proceedings is in Meghan's name. So yes, she would get some recompense for that. Probably not as much as what they've made, but it depends. If they win, how big the damages would be. A Shining Star says, Elliot, this is defamation law, and there are rules about publishing private letters, and Meghan technically held the copyright. That will you've got it. I think that is what the hinge point will be on it. It's determining who owns the copyright of a letter which you have then given to someone else. Because you wrote it, do you then do you retain the copyright of it, or if you've given it to someone, do you then pass that copyright on to the owner who you've given it to? That is the question that they will be doing. But there is also obviously intrusion, which is what they mentioned as well. So even if they can't get them on copyright, they may be able to get them on intrusion, on privacy. So it depends. I mean, I don't know which way it's going to go. I know with photographs, if you take a photograph, you retain the copyright unless you sell the photographs, I think, in the UK. But I'm not sure where you stand on letters. I mean, you know, if you send a postcard to someone, do you retain the copyright of that postcard? You know, can you tell the person who you've sent it to what they can and can't do with it? I don't know. This is the question that's going to be posed. This is where we need to look at precedents. So has there been a case that's been similar? What happened in that case? And I know, you know, I did criminal law at A level at college. So although I didn't do civil law, I know the criminal things, and you have to look at, in the UK, at past precedents of similar cases that you can compare and contrast with. And like I say, if you can't compare and contrast, if there is no direct similarity, you get to almost, if you're a judge, you get to create a new precedent in a potentially new ruling. So, like I say, very interesting. We will be very interested to see what happens. Mary says, if I write a letter to someone, I would not expect it to be published, especially a family member. Exactly, you would not expect it to be, but legally, can it be? That is the question. That is the question that will be put. And I'm, you know, that might not be what you want to hear, but that's the truth of it. That's what happens with legal cases. You have to look at, you know, it's not just what's moral. It's what's gone before, what's been allowed before, what's not been allowed before. But like I say, you know, even if they can't get them on the copyright, they may be able to get them on intrusion. Shining Star says, civil law is far more codified and there are civil procedure rules. Exactly, which I don't know all of them. I'm not a legal expert, but like I say, they will be looking, you know, they will be placing whatever evidence and cases they can compare and contrast with. They'll be doing all they can to get the result they want. 5 minutes 123 says, I hope the press are shaking in their boots. They have been relentless. We tell our children bullying is wrong. You look at what this couple have had to endure day in, day out. Absolutely disgraceful. And DHT says, love the timing of this. I wonder how the press is going to report the final day of engagements in South Africa. Again, that will be another interesting thing, won't it? Especially reporters who work for the publications that have been mentioned. Oh, look, I just had a notification. Meghan Markle, breaking news. Why do they still call her Meghan Markle? I don't know. Agent the King says, this also means that the press might work harder against... Yes. Again, going back to that comment by Harry, this may not be the safe option. It could also whip them up into a frenzy again. I don't know. Again, will the effects be immediate or will the effects be after the case? Depending on which way the case goes. No one can say. Let's go up a little bit. Countess Bavaria says, yes, I checked. This is when the letter was passed to Thomas. Vinnie Blair says, now we see how she is with her father for helping them with false narrative and for selling her out. Yes, I mean, you know, this is why she has continued not to talk to him. You know, it's all becoming very clear now, isn't it? So just like I said, way back, the hinge point in their relationship was when he was on his sickbed after the photographs debacle. Meghan was still up for him coming and being the best, giving her away, walking her down the aisle. But then he started this media campaign from his bedside, talking to TMZ. That was the straw that broke the camel's back. I said it. I'm not calling Meghan a camel, by the way, before anyone gets all funny with me. It's just a saying. That is the straw that broke the camel's back, and he hasn't regained her trust from that moment on because he's continued to do it over and over and over and over again. Even when he's been silent for 6 months, he just then thinks, "Oh well, I've been silent for 6 months, therefore I can now speak again." No, you've got to keep the privacy going forever. It's not just do it for 6 months and hope that she's going to phone you. You've got to keep it going, and that letter again proved that he can't control what he's doing, or maybe he can control it and he just he knows what he's doing fully. I don't know. I'm not in the man's head. I don't know if he has mental issues. I don't know if he's being if he's planning it all with intent. I don't know where he is in his head. Nobody does. Only he knows. Or does he? I don't know. I don't even know if he knows what he's doing. But yes, that was the moment that broke the camel's back, as we say. Barbie says, "I am surprised that they didn't wait to announce the lawsuit until after the South African tour. Seems that it will wipe out the work they did on the tour." Not entirely. You see, they could be being strategic because whilst they're on the tour, this might get more coverage. It might actually get more exposure in the press because they're obviously there's being snippets of and clips, montages shown daily on the British news channels. So it could be strategic. It could also be to see, like I think someone said, to see how they report on the final day, having known the day before what's going on. So it could be a little bit strategic, maybe. Candice Bavaria says, "It's a press I whipped into a frenzy. They might make more mistakes." We don't know. Ryan Finn says, "I think that, yes, it will be, again, tricky. I think it will be by English law because even if Thomas sold it to them from the States, it was published in the UK, so it most definitely will be under UK law." Melly says, "It really bothers me that Meghan and even Catherine are still referred to with their maiden names. They are married with new names. Camilla is referred to with her title." I mean, okay. I can't speak for the press, but I can speak for YouTubers. My goodness, we're only limited to only the first 70 characters are visible in a title when people are scrolling down. You can only put 100 characters in total in a title. So when you've got the Duke and Duchess of whatever, it takes up so many characters that sometimes it is just quicker and easier to put Harry and Meghan or Charles and Camilla or something of that nature. Just because we need to try and get as much in the title as possible so that when people are searching, they can find what they want. I mean, I always try my best to say proper titles in the content of the videos, but sometimes when it comes to titles, it is so much easier just to put Harry and Meghan or William and Catherine or whatever it might be, unless of course it's a short title where you can fit in the full title name. So yeah, cut YouTubers a little bit of slack on that one. Yes, but I can't abide people calling Camilla Parker Bowles. That's her divorced name. My goodness. What are people saying? Alicia says, the amount of trolls I've had to put in place over horrible things said about Harry and Meghan, I can't even count on both hands and toes. I bet. Okay, so I'm going to leave it here because I want to go and watch my favourite programme, The Great British Bake Off. So yes, unless anything else happens in the meantime, that is all for tonight. So we have a lot to consider, a lot to think about, a lot to talk about. So I hope you have enjoyed this video. If you have, then please give it a big old thumbs up. Don't forget to share on social media, and also do hit the notification bell so that you know whenever I upload a new video, and make sure you are subscribed to the channel. So from me in Shropshire, mwah, to you all, and goodbye.